Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Badger Breakdown. I'm Mike Lucas for UWBadgers.com. I'm joined by Matt Lepay, the voice of the Badgers. A lot of people look at this matchup as a game that can determine who's in the driver's seat for Indianapolis in the Big Ten Championship.
Yeah, they really do, Mike, and I think if there's anything that we probably should have learned by now is that all that stuff changes week to week, because there was one pretty prominent national broadcaster of college football who this time last week was proclaiming that Purdue was the best team in the league, Kirk.
He's not backing off it either.
No, he isn't, but it changes week to week, because I thought 1 week Michigan State, 1 week Michigan, maybe Ohio State, but clearly the way with Ohio State and Penn State not being eligible, this is a leg up kind of a game, an opportunity for both the Badgers and the Boilers.
Well, do you believe in the way you finish a football game sometimes can help you start the next game?
Well, it certainly helps with the image, doesn't it? I mean, Wisconsin, through 3 quarters, the game was 10-7 last week, but you remember the 4th, and the Badgers scored 21 points, and I think even regionally, maybe not nationally, but regionally, it's like, hey, it looks like maybe they're coming around, and maybe they are. That was, especially toward the end, Mike, when they were able to pound the ball at Illinois. Monte had room to run and took advantage.
Yeah, for us, it passed the sight test, because we saw running backs at the second level. We saw Monte Ball using a juke to get into the end zone. Some of the things that we saw last year.
Yeah, that was sweet, that juke move he put on the defensive back. And then the last run, I thought for a moment that he had to break a tackle, but he really didn't. He had a pretty good crease to run through on that final touchdown. Plus you get the play fake game going, Jared Abbrederis getting way behind the defense again. That's the Wisconsin offense that fans have been used to seeing. And hopefully, even though that's a pretty small sample size, hopefully that 4th quarter is something the Badgers can build on going down to Lafayette.
It's very cliche to say that a game is always decided on the line of scrimmage, but when you look at Purdue and Wisconsin, I think everyone has to say the same thing, that whoever wins the line of scrimmage has got a chance to win the ball game.
Yeah, and I think from Purdue's perspective, it looks at this game as though it's a better matchup. It had to play Michigan last week. Denard Robinson really ran the ball well. They played Marshall the week before. That was a real up-tempo type of offense, and Wisconsin, as Brett says, plays American football. And you look at those big old tackles that Purdue has. And they have some good defenders at every level, but Kawan Short is one of the best. Him by himself is one of the best players in the league.
And the thing to remember about Danny Hope coach teams, at least over the last few years, is that when they have been beaten soundly, the following week or two, they have come back with a vengeance.
Last year, a perfect example of that. Wisconsin comes in here and basically runs them out of town. 60-plus points in that game. The following week, Purdue goes home, beats Ohio State in overtime. So it's a little bit of a potluck team, but you're right. If you're going to assume anything with Purdue, assume that you are going to get a very, very hard shot from the Boilermakers on Saturday.
Have you seen enough positive signs since the start of Big Ten play that the offense truly is headed in the right direction? And it's just a matter of time before maybe it starts clicking on a more sustained basis.
I think they are, Mike, and I can't probably go any stronger than I think they are, but I was really encouraged. I think anybody would have been encouraged watching the Badgers in the 4th quarter, how they ran the ball. The numbers, last 3 games compared to the first 3, it's pretty telling of what Wisconsin is able to do, getting points up on the board, almost double. So I'm thinking, I go back to those words, baby steps, that Brett used a few weeks ago. We're seeing that slowly but surely. We're seeing this offense start to come around.
There have been some wild games in this series between Purdue and Wisconsin, both ways, here and in West Lafayette.
It's kind of interesting. Ricardo Allen, very good cornerback for the Boilermakers, 4 career interception returns for a touchdown. Jamar Fletcher has 5. 2 against Drew Brees and the Boilermakers. Up and down games. Drew Brees with the 83 passes here a year later with the Brees versus Dane game, which was a terrific game. Back and forth, back and forth. 04, you could keep going. It's been a very, very exciting series.
Well, we talked about it earlier this week. This game does have some historical significance because of what the reward could potentially be for either the winner, well, the winner and not the loser. And because of Purdue's position since Wisconsin went there in 2004 and upended an unbeaten team then, they haven't quite been the same program since.
Yeah, there was such hype in that 04 game, and rightfully so. Kyle Orton having a big year at the time, Heisman candidate, Purdue very highly ranked. Wisconsin was just coming off an emotionally charged game at Ohio State the week before. Badgers won in rather convincing fashion, but Purdue was the team to beat. Wisconsin did on the Scott Starks scoop and score.
The magic.
Yeah, absolutely, and you're right. Purdue hasn't quite been the same since, but this is a game you start looking at potential tiebreakers and all of that. That's what makes this game so important.
The Indy Bowl.
Could be.
Be fun. For Matt Lepay, I'm Mike Lucas. Thanks for watching Badger Breakdown on UWBadgers.com.